Today we're going to talk about the quadratic formula part 1. So section 5.6, we're going to do the quadratic formula. We're basically talking about the real solutions of quadratic formula today. And tomorrow then we'll talk about the second half quadratic formula, which is then getting some imaginary solutions. Okay, so we're dealing with I tomorrow. But quadratic formula today, part 1. So what is the quadratic formula? Well, quadratic formula is a quadratic equation written in standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c, which is a standard form, can be solved with the quadratic formula. Okay? The quadratic formula basically is what gives us like the zeros. So if you think about it in our parabola here, okay, we've been finding the zeros, which is where it crosses the x-axis. But sometimes there's some points where, well, they just don't meet nice and neat. You get some fractions or you get some radicals, and that's what we're dealing with today. Okay, so what happens when you can't factor a problem? So let's take the problem off our warm-up. The problem off our warm-up was x squared minus 6x minus 16 equals 0. And we factored that and solved it, right? Well, today we're taking a problem like this, and we can't factor it. So we have to use quadratic formula to solve. So we need to identify, notice that it says b, and there's some a, and then it says c, and another a. I need to find a, b, and c. So in my quadratic here, who can identify a, b, and c? What's a going to equal? What's b going to equal? And c. So I find a, b, and c, and then I plug it into the formula, and I solve for the equation. Okay, it's what I call plug and chug. You plug the information in here and chug through the algebra of the problem. A lot of order of operations today. Okay, so here's what this looks like. The quadratic formula is another way to find the roots of a quadratic equation or the zeros of a quadratic function. So I want to find the zeros of the function. F of x equals x squared minus 6x minus 11. Whenever I do this, I always want to set it equal to what number? What do I always want to set it equal to? 0. Yeah, I always set it equal to 0. Okay, so I set it equal to 0 and then identify a, b, and c. A is 1. B is negative 6, C is negative 11. And then I plug the information in. So I plug B in, I plug A in, and then I plug C in. So plug the information into something like this, and then it's nothing more than order of operations. 2 negatives get me a positive. Negative 6 squared gets me 36. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 11 gets me 44. And 2 times 1 gets me 2. So I do the order of operations. And then I simplify. I end up with something like this. 6 plus or minus square root of 80 over 2. And then I need to look to simplify it further. For example, how does the square root of 80 break down? Well, that's nothing more than 16 and 5. Okay, 16 and 5 is 4 square root of 5. Now I'm going to kind of backtrack right here. Really, you get 6 plus or minus 4 square root of 5 over 2. And then I look to simplify. Well, what's 6 over 2 going to get me? 6 over 2 gets me 3. And then I do 4 over 2. What's 4 over 2 get me? 2. So my answer here is 3 plus or minus 2 square root of 5. All right. The hardest part about this problem or this process is simplifying at the end. Everything up to that point is just algebra order of operations. Let's look at the first one. So number 1, it says find the zeros of each function using the quadratic formula. I have f of x equals x squared plus x minus 1. Then it says x squared plus x minus 1 equals 0. I need to identify a, b, and c. What's a going to be, Drew? What's b going to be, Drew? And c? Not 1, but negative 1. So I have 1, 1, negative 1. Is everybody good with that so far? All we did was identify a, b, and c. Now I'm going to take a, b, and c and plug it into the quadratic formula. So I have negative parentheses 1, because b is 1, plus or minus the square root of 1 squared, minus 4 times 1 times negative 1, because that's a times c, all over 2 times 1. So I plugged a, b, and c in, and now I use order of operations and I simplify. Negative 1 just gets me negative 1. Plus or minus the square root of, what's 1 squared going to give me? 1. Negative 4 times 1 times negative 1 gets me a positive 4, so it's plus 4. All over 2 times 1 is 2. So I have negative 1 plus or minus square root of 1 plus 4 all over 2. Now I simplify. What's 1 plus 4? So I have negative 1 plus or minus square root of 5 all over 2. Can I simplify the square root of 5? Can I simplify 1 over 2? Guess what? There's your answer right there. Great. Let's try number 2. I have f of x equals x squared minus 6x plus 6. Whenever I do these problems, I always want to set equal to what number? 0. So I have x squared minus 6x plus 6 equals 0. I need to identify A, B, and C. What's A going to be? Anybody A? B? C? So I have A, B, and C. Now I plug it into the quadratic formula. So there's my quadratic formula. I plug it in. So I have negative, parentheses, negative 6, plus or minus the square root, negative 6 squared, minus 4 times 1 times 6 all over 2 times 1. Does everybody see what I did there? I took A, B, and C and plugged it into the formula. And now I'm going to simplify. So negative 6 gets me a positive 6. Plus or minus. Negative 6 squared is 36. Now what's 4 times 1 times 6 give me? So minus 24. All over 2 times 1 is 2. Then I simplify further. So I get 6 plus or minus. Square root, what's 36 minus 24? All over 2. Now, can I break down the square root of 12? How does square root of 12 break down? Other way around. 2 square root of 3. Because it's 4 and 3, right? Square root of 4 is 2. So I get 6 plus or minus 2 square root of 3 all over 2. Is everybody good so far? And then I simplify. So what's 6 divided by 2? And what's 2 divided by 2? So I get 3 plus or minus 1 square root of 3, or just the square root of 3. And there's your answer right there. It's good stuff. And again, what's this help with? It helps solving all those problems. Okay, if I don't have a whole number or don't have a shortcut or an undistribute, I can use this. Or, let's say you're struggling with just solving them irregularly. You can do quadratic formula on any problem to solve that. And it would work there on a quadratic formula. You could. Let's take a couple seconds and try number 3 and 4 here. So I have 3x squared plus 23x plus 40 equals 0. First thing I always want to do is identify A, B, and C. Joe Daniels, what's A, B, and C? A is 3. What's B? And C? You say 40? Great. So I'm going to take the quadratic formula here, which is negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Awesome. So now I need to take the information and plug it in. What's b going to be, Drew? So I put negative 23 plus or minus square root. What's b again, Drew? 23. So I have 23 squared minus 4 times what's a, Drew? 3. What's c, Drew? 40. All over what's 2 times a? What's a? 3. Okay, so I've taken the information, I've plugged it in. Now somebody's problem's a little bit higher. Okay, so I need to simplify here. So I get negative 23 plus or minus square root. What's 23 squared, anybody?
529.
529. Nice job, McCoolidge. Minus, what's 4 times 3 times 140? Or 4 times 3 times 40? 480. Awesome. All over 2 times 3 is 6. Now take the next step and I simplify. So I get negative 23 plus or minus square root. 529 minus 480 is 49 all over 6. Now this kind of gets us a unique problem. Why? What's the square root of 49? Yeah, I get 7. So I get negative 23 plus or minus 7 all over 6. Guess what? We're not done here because we can get 2 unique solutions here. Okay? Does everybody see I have a plus or minus there? Everybody's probably wondering, why is there that plus or minus there? Well, that helps me to get my 2 answers. For example, I'm going to do negative 23 plus 7. What's negative 23 plus 7? Negative 16 over 6 gets me. So I have negative 16 over 6, which is really just negative 8 over 3. And then I'm going to do negative 23 minus 7. What's negative 23 minus 7? Negative 30. Negative 30 divided by 6 is negative 5. So my answers are x equals negative 8 over 3 and negative 5. So when my radical simplifies down, I can simplify it as far as I can. Okay. Now, what's wrong with number 4 here? If you look at the problem, how's it set up? There's an equal sign, that's true. But what do we always want to set equal to? 0. I have 4x squared equals 8x minus 3. Not equal to 0. So, how would I change this to set equal to 0? What? I can move them over. Can I move 8x and 3 over? Can I subtract 8x and add 3 to the other side? Yeah. So that gets me 4x squared minus 8x plus 3 equals 0. Now can I identify A, B, and C? Kyle, what's A, B, and C going to be?
A's going to be 4, B's going to be negative 8, and C's going to be 3.
Great. Now I'm going to take that information and I'm going to plug it in. So I have negative, parentheses, negative 8, plus or minus the square root of negative 8 squared minus 4 times 4 times 3 all over 2 times 4. And now I need to simplify. Negative and negative 8 gets me what? Positive 8. Plus or minus the square root of, what's negative 8 squared?
64.
64. Minus, what's 4 times 4 times 3?
Is that 4 times 4? So 16.
48, nice job. All over 2 times 4 is 8. Then I simplify further. So I have 8 plus or minus square root of 64 minus 48 is 16 over 8. What's square root of 16? 4. So I have 8 plus or minus 4 over 8. Awesome. Now I simplify down. What's 8 plus 4? 8 plus 12 is, or 8 plus 4 is? 12. 12 over 8 simplifies to 6 over 4, which is actually just 3 over 2. And then I do 8 minus 4. What's 8 minus 4 going to give me? 8 minus 4 is 4. 4 over 8 is 1/2. So I have x equals 3 over 2 and x equals 1/2. Let's go to the next two. Okay. Number 5. When we set these up, we always want to set equal to what? Always want to set equal to?
0.
0. So what am I going to move here?
Subtract the 41.
Subtract the 41. So I get x squared plus 4x minus 41 equals 0. What is A, B, and C here? Chaz, identify A, B, and C for me.
1, 4,
A equals 1, B equals 4, and C equals negative 41. Nice job. Use that information, plug it into the quadratic formula, and solve numbers 5 and 6 on your own. All right, let's walk through number 5 here. So I need to plug the information in. So I'm going to get negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 41 all over 2 times 1. When I work that out, then I get negative 4. Oops, let's go up here. Negative 4 plus or minus square root of 16 plus 164 all over 2, or negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 180 all over 2. Now I need to break down square root of 180. Square root of 180 breaks down as 36 and 5. Square root of 36 is, so I get negative 4 plus or minus 6 square root of 5 over 2. Then now I just need to look to simplify. For example, 4 over 2, what's 4 over 2 going to get me?
negative 2.
Plus or minus, what's 6 over 2 going to get me? So negative 2 plus or minus 3 square root of 5, and there's your answer. 6, I need to identify A, B, and C. Bennis, give me A, B, and C. What'd you have? C is negative 3. Great. So I plug it in here now. So I have negative, parentheses, negative 2, plus or minus the square root, negative 2 squared, minus 4 times 8 times negative 3, all over 2 times 8. 2 negatives give me A. 2 negatives give me A. Positive. So I have 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 2 squared is 4. Negative 4 times 8 times negative 3 is 96. Oh, I got, yeah, you're right. Sorry, I don't know why I got 4 there. That's 2. Thank you. So 2 plus or minus square root of 4 plus 96 all over 16. So I get 2 plus or minus square root of 100 over 16. Square root of 100 is? So 2 plus or minus 10 over 16. Now I need to get my 2 answers. What's 2 plus 10? 12 over 16 is? 3/4. And 2 minus 10 is? Negative 8. Negative 8 over 16 is? Negative 1/2. There you go. Good work.
Are we done?
We are not done. I have 2 more for you right here. Take a couple seconds, try these 2 on your own as well. All right, so let's look through number 7 here. I need to identify A, B, and C. Jake O'Connor, what's A, B, and C?
2, 3, negative 5.
So I plug it in. I get negative 3 plus or minus square root of 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 5 all over 2 times 2, right, Beast? So that gets me negative 3 plus or minus 9, or square root of, 9 plus 40 all over 4, which is negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 49
7.
all over 4. Square root of 49 is 7. So I get negative 3 plus or minus 7 all over 4. And now I simplify. What's negative 3 plus 7? 4 over 4 is? So I get 1 as one answer. And negative 3 minus 7 is? Negative 10 over 4 is? Negative 5 over 2. Nice job. And last one, number 8. A, B, and C. Katie, what's A, B, and C?
6, 5.
Okay, so I plug it in. I get negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 5 squared minus 4 times 6 times negative 4 all over 2 times 6. So that gets me negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 plus, what's 4 times 6 plus 4? What is it? 96. All over 12. So what's 25 plus 96 going to give me? So I have negative 5 plus or minus square root of 121. All over 12. What square root of 121 is? So negative 5 plus or minus 11 all over 12. Now I simplify. What's negative 5 plus 11? 6 over 12 is? What was it? 1/2. And then do negative 5 minus 11. Negative 5 minus 11 is? Negative 16 over 12 is? Negative 4 over 3. Nice job. There's your answers. And there's your assignment.